Abarera Legos Ori Banish C10 Demonio Dinaja 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 Abarera Legos Abarera Nikos Ram Ori Banish C10 Demonio Dinaja Abarera Nikos Ram Ori Banish C10 Demonio Dinaja.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Apocrypha, the best damn occult podcast on YouTube. Probably the only occult podcast on YouTube. But hey, it is what it is. Welcome, everybody. I am wearing a sleeveless shirt because it is hotter than Satan's balls where I am. Not that I would actually know exactly how hot Satan's balls are, but I'm assuming that they're pretty hot. You know, because apparently he's sitting on like a barbecue all the time. So, anyway, hope you all are doing well. Welcome to the show. It's good to see you guys. It's been a long week this week. Been a long week. So, quick rundown of the things that I want to talk about, or I want to basically advertise to you lovely people. If you're looking for occult-related clothing, it is threadsforthedead.com. If you want to read my ramblings, it is addiasdade.com. If you're interested in the new project that myself, Dyra, and Mystic are working on called Witch Skills, which is a full online occult academy. So actual classes, actual exams, some standardization of the occult. I mean, go the direction you want to go. We're going to have several different courses on there. There's going to be a demonolatry course, Satanism course, general paganism, herbalism. Like, so a lot of things going on with Witch Skills.
Herbalism.
You can go to witchskills.com and sign up to get notified when it's live. The YouTube channel for Witch Skills is up. It's Witch Skills. There's nothing on it right now, but it's there. So go give it a follow. Subscribe to it if you would, please. Okay. Mystic is going to be basically, he's going to kind of be teaching the general occult studies and tarot. I think tarot is where he's going to start out with. So he's going to come up with a tarot course for all you lovely people. Dyra is going to be doing the demonolatry course, and I will be doing the Satanism course. Now, Satanism covers atheistic Satanism, theistic Satanism, and devil worship. So that is a new thing that is coming your way. Whether you are a beginner looking to kind of dig your heels in a little bit deeper into the occult, or somebody that's been doing it for years and just wants to see what a standardized course is like and what you can get out of it, because it covers a lot of stuff. There's a lot of material in it. You know, go for it, right? The whole idea is so ever since I saw Harry Potter years and years ago, I always wanted to kind of create something to the effect of like Hogwarts. I always thought something like that would be, you know, interesting and I think kind of needed in the occult, right? Not necessarily standardizing everything, but going over in a very comprehensive manner the things that, you know, everybody kind of needs to understand kind of going into the occult, right? And the different areas of the occult. The ones that are going to kind of feel like more like kind of like an actual class and course are probably going to be the herbalism. Herbalism, because we have to go over kind of teaching safe herbs, unsafe herbs. So we're currently looking for an herbalist to teach that course. So if you know of anybody that is an herbalist that is interested in teaching a course, going through the curriculum, then we would be happy to. Oh, Dragon Dancer. I'm a certified herbalist.
I was going to say I know one, but I didn't want to put anybody out there that doesn't want to be put out there.
I mean, liking herbs and being a certified herbalist is very different.
And the type of herb is important too.
Yes, very much. Divination Witch, welcome.
Hello, Divination Witch.
So the idea was I wanted to create something that, even though I can't build a castle and call it Hogwarts, I definitely wanted to create something that people could go to actually get a course, meet other people in the occult, learn from them, have teachers, people that can go to and ask questions to, people that have been doing this stuff for years, right? And to answer your question, Sadworld, as far as how much, we haven't fully decided on a price yet, so I don't want to talk about prices right now, because we're not 100% certain where we're going to land on it, because we're talking about actual semesters. So we're talking, so each course is four semesters long. So that would be 3 months per semester, roughly. So it's a full-on course. Like if you were to actually go to like a university or something like that. It's not like a week or 2 weeks. It's, something that, I mean, you can do it at your own pace, but
Udemy style.
Exactly. So, they're very comprehensive curriculums. So yeah, looking forward to that. But if you guys are interested in knowing what's going on, then, go to the website, witchskills.com, drop your email in there, and you'll be notified once it goes live, and stuff like that. And Dragon Dancer, shoot me a message if you're interested in teaching the herbalism course. We'll go over it. We'll talk about it and talk numbers and all that fun stuff. Okay? So, anyway, with all that fun shit out of the way, right? Mr. Mystic, what big deck do you have for us this evening? I'm glad you do. Wait, we, not I. It's we see your magic.
We see your magic. Yeah, so this is a tarot I've had for quite a while. I think this was deck like 387 out of what, like 400 and something now. This is the Ascendant edition. It's a very monotone, large. I love this. I actually do really like this one. Hold on a second. I get a little more light there. That's better. So you got some Ouroboros and Infinity-ish. But it is reversible, which I like. And there are no borders, which I also like. But you'll see it's the very monochromatic, being a matte black finish with silver. And it is actual silver inlay in there. So it's really pretty.
Wait. Actual silver as in like...
Not real silver.
Oh, okay.
Actual...
Okay.
It's not the silver.
I was like, holy shit, that must be an expensive fucking deck.
Yeah. I mean, I do have a truly all gold deck of playing cards, but not tarot cards.
Oh,
because I collect tarot or playing cards too. But that's the deck we're using today. And we are going to pull out some information and see what happens. Interesting. Very interesting. I'll have to share it too, don't I?
Paranormal, that is some fucking dedication to this channel and the community. You are in the hospital and you're still here. Like that is dedicated. Wow. That is my respects.
Hey, look.
And I'm sorry to hear you're in the hospital.
Yeah, we'll have to tell us a little more about that. We'll send some love your way.
Yeah, I mean, if Mystic was in the hospital, he'd tell me to fuck off.
Yeah, that does happen. But I mean, it was like after midnight.
There you go.
So we've got 2 2s in the world.
2 2s.
2 2s. So we have a 2 of Swords, a 2 of Cups in the world. This is an absolute amazing read for like an energetic how the week is going to be read, and this is going to be
Okay.
rough because if it doesn't do like this come to pass thing, it'll be like egg on your face. But um, your 2 of Swords, especially in this deck, well, any twos really for me, kind of have this representation of either yes or no's, on and offs, decisions. I think again, I've said it multiple times. A two for me isn't really mean a duality or two people. It means one recognizing its existence. So a three is really a duality for me because you have to exist, and then you have to recognize you exist. So the 2 of Swords is that self-recognition of the other part of yourself, the harmony of the other part of you that you need to look for. So the energy that's coming up in the next week is an internal look at what's your harmony, what's the thing that helps you make your moral decisions, your cuts. How do you trim the fat off of things that are around you? How do you make decisions of one versus the other? Because as we know, everything is kind of this big circle, right? Things are all the same. They're the same in nature, but different in the degree of them, right? So
If it was like 10
what's
years ago, it'd be like a
yeah,
bottle of Jack Daniels and an 8 ball. But
yeah. Well, what's the purpose of your cut? Is what my shoulder hurts from holding that up. What's the purpose of the cut? Is the thing that comes to mind with this particular 2 of Swords. So it's look inside and think about what it is that you need to cut to
Line?
create
No, just kidding.
harmony. If that's what it is, then that's perfectly good. So we're following this 2 of Swords that's saying like, recognize yourself and look at what makes harmony in your life and do that and decide for that. Don't decide for stupid shit. If you want to do it, that's what it should be decided on, not somebody else. Then we have our 2 of Cups. That's a little shiny. Hold on.
A little shiny?
There we go. Maybe that little to the left. Little to the left. So our 2 of Cups is also a recognition of that thing, and I think traditionally you find 2 of Cups as meaning like a new friendship or thing like that. But for me, again, twos are a self-growth, a self-recognition. So this is saying you're not really giving yourself enough credit for something. So again, as we look at what's coming ahead in the next week or whatever, the next time frame that we're talking about, you want to look into yourself and recognize what it is that my eyes just went cross. That was hilarious. And recognize what it is that you need to not only just create harmony in yourself, but love about yourself and care about yourself and find joy in yourself, because not only do you exist, you also recognize your existence, and you're not given enough time to that. I think that's a message really that's timeless anyway, looking at the other side of yourself and not giving yourself credit. It's almost like we're not giving ourselves credit. We're not taking the compliment, and it's really just watering down things.
Right.
And most of that, this would be a very different read if it weren't for the third card being the World. And as I think pretty much everybody can hopefully remember, the World has come up a few times. This is a relatively traditional card. This is a very pretty world vision. Kind of hard to see, but you've got olive branches, you've got the wings, you've got something that resembles kind of the caduceus. There's some a crystal in there, some different ideas and things. But the world represents completion, right? Everything. It represents everything has come to where it needs to be. So you're talking about a major arcana card at the very end of a journey, or is it the beginning? Because it's a cycle, right? But this completion of something that's really far away of what twos represent in the beginning of a minor arcana. So we're really talking about you're going to hopefully have a whole new understanding of something, or a whole new appreciation for something, if you do a little bit of extra work on finding out what in your life gives you harmony and what about yourself gives you joy and friendship. Be a friend with yourself. So that's a little bit of homework for the next week, but the energy is to me is extremely positive. So that's that. I will say, to throw one thing in there just for explanation, let's say this world was maybe, give you a little taste of what the tarot course might look like. Let's say the world was the Fool. You have a completely different read. If this was the Fool, then I'm like, oh, you're gonna have to make some hard decisions to cut something out of your life so that you can take that first step. So One thing that is important to me when I read is that I turn over all my cards at one time so I can see them as a whole, because that changes their meaning. To me, doesn't mean everybody does it that way, but that's how I do it.
I mean, it makes sense. I mean, obviously, like, I mean, when I read, I do kind of like individual, each card represents something separate.
If I do Oracle, I do them separate.
That makes sense. I normally do Oracle. So.
Yeah. But, like, you know, if you have the Tower, Death, and the Ten of Swords, I'm sorry. It's been nice working with you. But you change that last one to the World instead of the Ten of Swords or any one of them, then you have a completely different outlook on the card. So,
right.
But Oracle is a little bit different. Oracle is a lot more, well,
as an Oracle reader, the one thing that on the World card that stood out to me when you said it, that like it jumped out at me, was the olive branch.
Mm-hmm. Just extend it to yourself.
There you go.
Yeah. That's what the twos are for me. Like, a lot of people do twos as two friends getting together or two sides of the same thing. To me, it's the mirror. Mm-hmm. Your mirror self.
Yeah. I mean, and I think for me, I think the occult and the left-hand path as a whole, I think teaches us something extremely important that I think falls directly into this this tarot reading, is, you know, that this idea of being able to take a step back and look at yourself from different angles. You know, the necessity to take a step back, to pause, step back, and reassess yourself inside of your situations and your circumstances, and assess your position in those. And to figure out not only where it is that you stand in said situations, but what it is that you can do to either continue a good situation, better a bad situation, or just completely change your situation altogether. You know, and I think that's an important lesson of the occult.
I think that's an important lesson for divination and tarot, and it's why, like, I've got a new type of divination I'm working on. I mean, I'm not making it, I'm doing new for myself. Mm-hmm. I have a new way to read. But to me, it's always been kind of like a precursor. What's the word I'm looking for? And the left-hand path fits right into it too. It's a jump start to your brain to start thinking of things in a different manner. That's why tarot can be read for anybody, and people can get completely different meanings out of it, and it's still effective. Because it's not about what's in the card, it's about what the person getting read perceives is in the card and how they interpret it for themselves and use to make different decisions moving forward. You know? Mm-hmm. So, like, if I need to hear a message, I'm probably going to hear that message. And a lot of people say, well, that's, you know, cold reading or hot reading or whatever kind of any reading. I'm like, it's what you needed to hear at the moment to make a decision to do something.
Mm-hmm. I mean, everything is energy, right? You know, so the idea of, you know, you telling yourself exactly what it is that you need to hear, you can consider it, you could try to break it down scientifically or psychologically and sit there and say that you're cold reading yourself. I mean, cold reading is more like the ability to kind of read somebody else's body language and, you know, things like that, like the little micro signals that people give off, you know, with certain thought patterns.
How they respond to your words.
Yeah, exactly. But I feel like with divination specifically, there is an element of that, but the energy is constantly moving. Like, you can feel the energy moving. Like, when you really get into divination of any kind, like one that I'm messing around with right now pretty heavily is, I don't want to call it scrying, because scrying's with a crystal and something like that, but I made a black mirror, right? And with the black mirror, I'll light my candles, my incense, put on my what many people call my spooky demonic music, and I sit there and I meditate open-eyed into the mirror, into the black.
We made black scrying mirrors once. It was fun. Yeah,
that's what I did. I just used matte black spray paint on a... back
We
of
do
a
it a
picture
little
frame.
differently, but it was kind of fun. But yeah, similar idea.
Yeah, I remember you telling me about that.
Yeah, it's
Like
really
you,
nice.
yeah, you showed them on. Yours are a lot more creative. Mine is a simple, minimalistic, like almost no frame.
Oh. We made
You know,
like 20 of them to be part of our silent supper.
I remember
That's,
that. I
that's
remember
what we
that.
did. Yeah, that was, and then everybody was take one with them if they wanted.
Yeah. So a silent supper. I'm curious.
Mm,
Is that
favorite
is
thing
that
every year.
is that kind of like an ofrenda?
I believe so.
Okay,
So,
that makes sense.
and I only say I believe so because I think I know what that is. But specifically, Silent Supper, which we've done every year since our first one, is we obviously have food and dinner, and we all eat dinner, and we of course create a plate and a setting for the ancestors
Hmm.
and for anybody who's passed, and we do it in complete silence. And the idea is to think about the people that you want to see, named or unnamed, that have
Hmm.
passed, that are part of your ancestry, and interact with them. We've had some very, very powerful experiences with that.
Interesting.
A couple years ago, Rook started laughing and gone crazy in the middle of it, and just was crying and saw it was very interesting. I mean, not in a bad way.
Hmm.
And like a true, like, you feel something different when you really sit there in silence and think about the people before you, and how many people had to exist for any of us to be here. Like,
I mean, silence
it's
is
insane.
powerful. Silence is a
It,
powerful thing. You know.
especially when you have a direction to the thought.
Hmm.
If the direction to the thought is think about the people you care about who have passed, and then keep going back to their parents and their parents and their parents, it gets very profound very fast.
Yeah, definitely. So it's similar to an ofrenda. So an ofrenda would be kind of like more like kind of like Dia de los Muertos, like where they create kind of like family altars and put pictures of their loved ones on an altar, and then put things that that person would would have liked in their life onto it,
I
and it's
like
done
that
in
too.
silence. Right there's no talking, anything like that. It's you put it there, and then you kind of meditate on that person. So it's similar, right? No, just not necessarily the same. So, and curse. That's exactly what I did. Matte black spray paint and an empty picture frame. That was it. It
So
worked just fine.
yeah, we did matte black spray paint, and then a layer of silver spray paint, which gives it kind of like some flecks in it,
Okay.
which can kind of make some shapes kind of appear a little bit, a little gloss to it. Like, it's very weird. And then we put a lot of herbs and things in it that are associated with connections and ancestors and stuff like that. Glued them in, and then put felt behind it to hold it all together. So there was some intenting and some witchy process in it, in addition to just the paint. Um, so
Yeah.
we always do the extra stuff.
Yeah. I mean, I
How'd
just
that be?
went with what was cheaper, and just because it was the
But
first time doing
if
it, and I wasn't sure if it was going to work, and it worked out
yeah,
wonderfully. It works great,
as
as long
long
as
as
it's
you let it
clean.
dry. Yeah,
Yeah.
it has to be. Oh, and the other thing we do that really does help with like the getting into, I don't know why or how, but before we actually painted it, we held it above an overheated um, oil lamp, and let the brown smoke, the soot, stick to the glass before we painted it in, and that just gives it like an ethereal look. It's very neat.
Interesting.
Um,
Interesting.
and then paint it. But yeah, we spent almost no money on all of those. They were all like $1 a piece. Picture frames with just picture frame with a glass front from
Yep.
a thrift store. We bought like 20 of them. It's very cool.
I got mine
And to
from
make it,
Amazon.
it's so much fun.
Yeah. I mean, I like having it. So like when I'm looking at it, when I'm looking into the mirror, what I enjoy most about it is I almost feel like I'm getting pulled into it,
Hmm.
you know, and like if I focus on it long enough, it feels like I'll actually get kind of like sent someplace else.
Yeah, for sure. I do.
Where
I've done it.
exactly I don't know, and if whatever's on the other side wants to kill me or eat me, then I'm kind of fucked. But you know, it is what it is, right? It is the
Still
occult,
fun.
the unknown, right? That is what it is. So, just a little update here, because I keep seeing the divination witch, and I'm so glad that you've been able to join us. But
Yes.
it seems like just a little update on the Melinda situation.
Oh God.
It looks.
Bye, y'all.
I can't say this for certain, but it almost seems like she's giving up her YouTube channel, judging by the post that she has in her community section. Right? I forgot who told me about them, but somebody told me that she posted about posting less on YouTube and starting a job. So I just think it's interesting. You're multitasking. So I always thought, I find it interesting now. Like I always, when I heard multitasking, I was like, okay, we all multitask, until I realized after a little bit of research, accidental research, that apparently the human brain is actually incapable of truly multitasking.
Don't even start this. We've had this conversation. I've shared it before, and people get really pissed off. There's no such thing as multitasking, only half tasking. But nobody wants to believe me. You can do 2 tasks at once, but you cannot give them 100%. Bitches. You're only processing one piece at a time. Unless you have a quantum brain.
It's almost 2. You're at work and it's almost 2 a.m. What in the hell? What do you do for work?
A lot of people work night shifts.
Okay, I mean, yeah, I used to. I've done that before.
I love night shift nursing. That's the best one to work. I was in when I worked in the ICU, I was a night nurse on the trauma ICU and the respiratory trauma bay in an inner city level 1 trauma center. So much fun. Like, your people are your people. Like they're your people.
They're your people.
Whether it's nursing or 7-Eleven. I worked at 7-Eleven night shift for a long time with my friend Trent, who I still keep trying to find, and I cannot find him anywhere. I don't know if he died or something.
I hope not.
But, man, I used to work 10 to 6 at 7-Eleven overnight, and then work as a med rec tech, and then went to nursing school in the afternoon.
Interesting. Yeah, I mean, so Divination Witch said, honestly, I've washed my hands of her. I wish I could. I wish I could. I have a habit of like continually picking at scabs until they start to bleed. And Melinda is one of those scabs that I keep picking at. I mean, she does thrive off of it. But the one thing that I realized, so I'm going to be completely honest. One of the things I'm beginning to realize, like with the videos that I do on her, there's a lot of people that are just finding her, that are just getting into the occult. There's several comments on the recent videos that I've done of people that are just getting into the occult that found her and followed her because they thought that she knew what she was talking about. And then because of their search for her videos, they stumbled upon my videos and then kind of went through the catalog of videos that I have and realized, okay, maybe she doesn't really know what the hell she's talking about. And thankfully, due to my videos, we've been able to get people off of a really bad path going the wrong way on the occult.
Yeah. I mean, that's a true statement because, as most can hopefully see, we disagree enough and we don't get stupid about it or try to make other people look like shit unless they do it on their own. We'll point it out.
Yep.
But we don't have to do anything extra.
Exactly.
It's like, I don't know. I don't understand it.
I regret ever being a Melinda fan. See, there you go. An example of another person that has kind of found their way, into being more open and more accepting, because they found their way off of her stuff. regardless of how or with whom, you know, they found their way off. And it's not just her that I react to. It's like I said, there's many people that I react to. Unfortunately, a lot of people don't realize how much more dangerous the other people are. Like, Melinda is not the most dangerous out of the people that I've react to. Like, I mean, I've said this before, like a couple of episodes ago. The most dangerous person I've reacted to, in my opinion, would be John Ramirez.
I would agree completely.
You know, I find him to be probably the most aggressive and the most potentially dangerous individual that is against witchcraft and witches and the occult.
Yeah, Melinda's just misinformation and a lot of angry people.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, John Ramirez is
there's
actually,
no
go
real
kill the
war.
mother. Whoa.
Yeah. Yeah, she's not building an army.
Yeah, exactly. So, people
Hey,
backed
buddy.
up my comment in her chat. I didn't rise to it. She asked her. Yeah, that's what she. I mean, she lied in the video directly, saying that I denied ever believing in Baphomet. So that was fun, right? Like, she made the claim in the video that he denied it until I kept harping on him about it, and he finally admitted it. It's like, no, that's not how that happened. I've never denied working with Baphomet.
You can write your own story. If people want to listen to you and think you're right, they're going to follow it.
Divination, which you are 100% right. There are scary cults on YouTube. There are scary people.
There will always be.
There always will be. And this is the beautiful thing about being able to speak your mind, though, is because we're able to speak our mind, we can combat misinformation and hatred by providing correct information, right? And pointing out where people are incorrect with certain things. If, like, one of the things that struck me with your video, Divination Witch, that it hurt. It hurt my soul to hear you say it. But you said in your video that you were afraid of reacting to her because she has a significantly larger following than you. And that hurt me to hear that another creator was afraid of correcting somebody's misinformation. And I'm glad you kind of stood up to the plate regardless of how you felt, and you still did it. So I'm happy for you there, and I'm proud of you for doing that. You know, but people that are able to or have the correct information when somebody's tearing us down the way that Melinda and others do, I don't want to say that we have a responsibility. It's not a responsibility unless you take it onto yourself. But the correct information needs to be out there, right? And sometimes reacting to somebody that said one thing is what's necessary.
Yes, Sad World, that is correct.
Hey, no, I completely get that. But point is I'm happy that you made the video that you made, and I'm proud of you for standing your ground the way that you did. You did an amazing job. Right? Regardless of whether or not it's something that you're going to turn into regular content, which I don't think so. Like, I am proud that you did what you did. And welcome to the community.
Welcome.
So, and it's sometimes, like, when you do reaction videos, it feels kind of cheap when you do reaction videos, because you know inevitably the first thing that people are going to jump on when you do reaction videos is that, oh, they don't have any content of their own. Saying that somebody doesn't have their own content in a reaction video is kind of ignorant. If the person's only playing, like, the person's video and kind of sitting there nodding and going, like they do on TikTok, like, I hate that shit. Like, there's these reactors on TikTok. It will literally play the entirety of one person's video, say nothing, and just sit there and make facial expressions and call it a reaction.
Well, let's be clear, too. It's not like we haven't tried to get her to come on the show or talk to us, or even just you. She's denied in every attempt to have a conversation, so sure are going to get some reactions. You won't talk?
Yeah, exactly. And,
We'll talk for you.
and that's how I'd prefer to do it. I would prefer somebody to come onto the show directly, even if it's a pre-recorded show. If they don't want to be live, that's fine. Like if they want to do a pre-recorded conversation, we could do that. I don't like this basic bickering back and forth, reacting to each other's videos. I would prefer direct conversation. Because for those that watched my reactions, my last couple of reactions to her, there have been a couple of things that she has said in her videos recently where I've said, I agree with this. I agree with what was just said. I will give credit where credit is due. I am not going to intentionally try to dig in and tear down absolutely everything she says if I think that there's some type of validity to it. And there have been several things that she said in the last couple of reactions where I'm like, okay, I accept that. I take that. Okay. Like when she talked, when I hit her with saying that I don't think she's a witch, and then she talked about why she came out as a witch and stuff like that. Like, I'm like, okay, I'll take it. It seems sincere. Until the very end of the comment, but it seems sincere, like in the middle part, like the explanation, stuff like this. Okay, I take it. I'll accept it. So it's sad because everybody out there, like her, wants people to think that I'm the devil incarnate, and like I'm just pure fucking evil. And
pure.
Like if one of Melinda's reactions, actually, she said, I'm the reason why people like me are the reason why there's war, famine, rape, and other horrible things that happen in the world.
We can correct that if you'd like.
I'm like, damn. Like, that's that's a pretty hefty fucking blame to take, right?
People like you.
Yeah, people like me, right? I try to be, Satanists are the nicest people I've encountered so far. Well, here's the thing. It's part of it has to do with the faith. Part of it has to do with the faith. When you realize and when you understand that your life is your responsibility, and what you survive and what you don't, like what you can handle and what you can't handle, and all of these things fall onto you, right? Like if you want to change in your life, it's your responsibility to change it. Regardless of whether or not you're ready in the moment is a completely different story. But at the end of the day, the only person that can make a change in your life is you, right? And most of the time, people on the left-hand path, whatever version of the left-hand path, whether it be atheistic Satanism, theistic Satanism, devil worship, demonolatry, what have you, right? Understanding that, you are the architect of your own fate really kind of takes the burden off of why a lot of people treat other people like shit. Because a lot of people are constantly looking for scapegoats of why everything's fucked up. How many times have the LGBT community been crucified for all the problems in the world? Right?
Well,
How
we
long?
will really help with overpopulation, I promise.
It's true. How long did people believe that homosexuals and pedophiles were the same thing? How long?
Some still do.
Exactly. So, it's one of those things that people are constantly looking for a scapegoat to say, well, no normal person would want to harm a child like that. So it has to be, people that are already in their definition, deviants. So it's one of those things. We're not looking, as people on the left-hand path, we're not looking for a scapegoat. We're not looking for somebody to pass blame onto why the world is so fucked up. The world is so fucked up because humanity in general is fucked up. right? It's just fact of life. It's the way that we're constructed. It's the way that we're built. But we understand that if we want things to change, we have to be that force for change. We have to be the change that we want to see. We can't tell other people, or rather suggest to other people how they should do certain things to better society if we ourselves aren't doing it. Exactly. We don't need an adversary. We are the adversary. We're the adversary of ourselves in a positive way. Adversary just means against, right? So you can be the adversary of the negativity in your own life, the adversary of the negativity that is in the world. So, I see Mystic laughing his ass off at comments.
Getting buff with Satan.
Getting buff with Satan.
Procrastination's like masturbation. You only fuck yourself. I mean, those are some shirts right there.
Right? Exactly. Those are some T-shirts.
I might have to give Aaron credit for that one.
Yeah. Getting buff with Satan. I think I'm going to turn that into a T-shirt because I like to work out too. So, definitely, I think that's going to be a T-shirt. I think I'm going to do a poll in the community section, with some of the phrases that we've come up with the last couple of shows, because there's been a few. To see which one do you guys want to be the next T-shirt.
In Twitch, you used to be able to save them and make a list, and people could recall them. Like favorite quotes and stuff.
Yes, yes.
Recall quote number 5, and it's like, getting buff with Satan. I love it.
Dude, I remember that. I don't know if they still do that. I think they still do. YouTube needs something.
I'm sure. Yeah, YouTube doesn't have a whole bunch of stuff like that. Big decks. Oh, yeah, I have a T-shirt that says I like big decks, but I don't wear it out much.
Oh.
And my coffee cup with big decks on it.
Coffee cup with big decks? There you go.
I don't take that one to work. So, but yeah, that's hilarious. But that's good. All that's true. There's not really a whole lot to add to any of that because everybody's just trying to find their way, and we're all going to do it a little bit differently. But don't bullshit people.
Yeah, no, don't do that.
One thing that she wants to do. She wants followers and people to buy her book.
Mm-hmm. Which I refuse to do. Somebody wants to get me a PDF copy, I'll read it. And I highly doubt there's anybody out there that really wants to pirate her shit. But there's probably somebody out there that thought that was a big, a big do in the pirating community. I'm sure it's
somebody's Bible. Somebody's living by that book. I can guarantee it.
Yeah, exactly. No, one of the things I'm actually beginning to realize. So one of the things I listen to when I work out is I listen to like these motivational speeches with the intense music in the background, right? And there was something that I heard in one of these that it really kind of clicked with me when it comes to the occult. This is something I really wanted to talk about today. I'm glad I remembered. So it talked about discipline, right? Discipline in anything in life is kind of the key to success to the things that you do, right? I mean, if you figure, for example, Mystic is in charge of a shit ton of people, right? I use him as an example because, he has, a job where he is a boss, essentially. And you don't get to that point in being able to do that with a lack of discipline. You're the one that disciplines your employees, right? Like you basically teach them kind of like a disciplined manner to do things. Would that be correct assessment?
Yeah, I suppose.
He doesn't like where this is going, so he doesn't want to admit it.
Well, no, I just like my style, and the reason I am where I am is because, yes, I believe in having discipline as a step-by-step guide, but I also believe in leaving enough room to step outside of that.
Oh, you have
to mix. You have to have discipline, I guess, in the thought process, maybe, but there's also too much discipline, right?
Well, I think if you create discipline as like a law that you have to follow, you hinder growth. right? But being disciplined in the fact of staying the course and allowing yourself to grow inside that and continue day to day in what you're doing, right, is the type of discipline that we're talking about.
Right. So then I do not do that with my team.
Okay.
My team is a very open. Each one has so we do this some work together where we each independently identify what we are good at and not good at.
Okay.
And that it just discipline to me sounds too much like formality, and I'm not a formal person. Like, I don't want my team to feel like Brian said you have to do this, so you have to do this. No, I said we have this goal we have to get to. What do you think will work? Let's talk about it. How can we get this to work? And that is successful. So yes, discipline, but I still don't like. I'm just not a fan of the term.
Got that.
And I know
I can respect that.
there's more than one meaning. Where there's disciplinary action, and there's discipline as in holding yourself accountable to doing a step-by-step process to get where you need to go, right? That forward movement. But even that is very stifling in healthcare. Yes,
okay.
I have to be disciplined in some things, but I really have to be adaptable and open more so to kind of,
Right.
to really make sense of it. When I hear disciplined, I feel like I am taking away my team's ability to make decisions that might make something better, I guess, because that's what our role is. Our role is consultant.
See, I find that
So
interesting. I find that interesting, and this is one of the things that I love about this kind of dynamic. So, Divination Witch, just so you're aware, one of the reasons why Mystic is the co-host of the show is because when he disagrees with me, he doesn't let it slide. He will tell me live,
as long as we don't agree to disagree,
that he disagrees with me. And the reason for that is I don't want this to be an echo chamber. Right? I've never wanted Apocrypha to be an echo chamber of one idea. Because when you have an echo chamber, so in my opinion, this is just my opinion. This doesn't reflect Mystic or the channel. This is just my opinion.
That means it's probably wrong.
Even the people that claim to be inclusive and create a safe space and things like that, if one person steps out of the line of the ideology that person is trying to support or push forward, the person in question gets crucified by that person in the community because they have a different idea instead of talking about it. And one of the things that I wanted to show, especially in the occult, is that it's okay to have a difference of an opinion, right? Because we're talking about our personal experiences and the things that, are true to us. And so the biggest thing that I wanted to put forward to this community is truly anyone is accepted here. We've had people leave the community because Mystic and I allowed an Eastern Orthodox Christian to be a part of the community. Right? There was somebody in the chat that was blatantly attacking our Christian friend because they were Christian, and we didn't stand for it. I'm a demonologist. I work with demons. The complete opposite of Christianity. Go ahead. Sorry to cut you off.
Yeah, that's okay. I was just, I think the other thing that needs to be said too is we also need to recognize, myself included, which it can be often. I do it automatically just because it's part of the practice of the type of patients I take care of. But, looking at something from a different perspective that it works for certain groups of people doesn't make it the right answer for everybody. So part of the reason I manage the way I do is because of the team that I have, which is probably going to be quite different if I was maybe leave this job and go work for somebody else, do something different. That style is going to change. That style may need strict discipline for a while and then move into the more free thinking process, right? That's really, really important piece of that whole discussion when we have disagreements, and it is just a disagreement. Like, You're allowed to disagree. A lot of that is based on the experience that we've each had. And what do we say about experience, right? We can read books. Books are great. I love reading. I read a lot of stuff. But it doesn't matter until I've experienced it. To me, it's not going to be the same experience anybody else has. And we're going to have different, results from it. I love listening to, what do you call it? Shit, I just lost my train of thought. But anyway.
I was going to do that for you. I saw you doing it. I was like, fuck, how can I do this?
but I mean, the end all be all is this: we should disagree. We should have the conversations. We should process it. Oh, I remembered. When somebody like reads a poem and they're like, the poem is like, I don't know, I don't have any money, eat shit, die. Right? Like that's okay. And I'm going to say, because of where I am right now and how things are going, and if I'm very depressed, I'm going to take it literally. I might go to somebody else who's very close by, and they might be like, this is a very deep piece about the importance of somebody's life and how they've integrated death. And, I'm like, how the hell do you see that? Okay, but your experience applied to that at the time is what changes its meaning. It's why it's important to share disagreements, because when we share our disagreements, people are going to see the part of it which makes sense for them. And that's how we have these conversations, and you learn and make experience out of the thing that you're doing, in my opinion.
Exactly.
And thank you.
No, and so, I mean, that's one of the reasons why, I mean, apart from the fact that Mystic's my best friend, but the thing that I appreciate about him as a person is his blatant honesty. Like, it's uncomfortable sometimes. Like, we'll have conversations about things that, I'm looking for a certain response, and he gives me something completely different, and it's uncomfortable.
And it doesn't have to change your mind.
It doesn't, but it helps, because he takes me out of that place. Like, he essentially is like, I know what you're looking for, and I'm not going to give it to you.
Sometimes I do it just because of that.
So
it is what it is.
Exactly. It is. It exactly, Curse. It's refreshing.
Ooh.
And yeah, go ahead.
I was just say that does remind me, so I don't forget. If anybody is interested, there is a YouTube channel I follow called Seek Discomfort. I think it's a yellow picture on it. It is a really cool. They kind of go around all over the world and put themselves in uncomfortable situations to learn. And it's really neat. But I just wanted to throw that out there. Seek Discomfort.
Yeah, I mean, I saw a phrase earlier today on a neon sign of all places, that essentially said,
"No vacancy."
No. Growth begins at the end of your comfort zone.
I've heard something very similar. Growth begins at the edge of discomfort.
Okay.
That might actually be from that channel, by the way.
Okay, there you go.
But anyway, yeah.
And look, I mean, all puns intended, speak of the devil and so shall he appear.
I love it.
Mark, we were just talking about
heathen stuff. There's no heathens in here, Mark. They're not allowed. Just kidding. Just kidding. There are heathens in here. I shush.
So now Mark's just, the only thing with Mark is Mark doesn't understand that he's the exception, not the rule when it comes to Christians. We got to give him a pass on that one.
Yeah, that's hilarious. It's like, I don't know, that somebody's listening and we say the name and it just happens.
Right, exactly.
And yes, I see Mr. Who's a what's it? The Sad World, you know exactly who I'm talking about. So yeah, that's how I found them, was through Yes Theory. The Seek Discomfort. Great show. Great group.
Dragon.
Those would be neat to react to sometime.
Like uncomfortable YouTube channels?
Yeah. And not like uncomfortable like a Serbian film.
Okay.
Like uncomfortable, like, discomfort seeking, like doing things that you may never do. Or you maybe couldn't, like, I never knew at this point in my life I would be riding a motorcycle, tattooed, and You're doing tarot. Like that wasn't on my list of things to do in life.
I mean, like the only growth I think could ever happen from somebody watching a Serbian film would be I never
Weight
wanted
loss
to
from
watch
vomit?
that. Yeah, I never wanted to watch that movie. I never want to see it again.
Yeah.
And somebody burn out my retinas.
Yeah. And your ears.
Yeah,
The ear hairs got burned out.
Yeah, you know, like because that's the only way. Like it is such a fucked up film. It will never leave your mind. Like every time somebody says the name of that film, the most uncomfortable scenes of that movie run through my head.
Yep.
As clear as day, and it's horrible.
But yeah, so I mean, the whole seek discomfort thing I think comes out of that. What you were talking about, it can be kind of not twisted, but turned back around into the type of discipline you were talking about, or dedication. Which I do like dedication a little bit better, just because dedication is the ends, like more than the other one, which is kind of the means part. Like,
okay,
to me, it's more important to visualize the end and see all, fill in the rest, and it will always fill in. That's an interesting take from a couple of other people I've watched, where it doesn't matter. Anything that you've ever worried about doing that hasn't happened is just making stuff up that's never going to matter. It is what it is. You do what you do, things will happen. Every terrible thing in my life, I've gotten through it, and when I don't get through it, it's not going to matter anymore because I'll be dead.
So for Divination Witch and Alexis, the mantra that you're listening to in the background was a mantra recorded for us by Behemoth-X specifically for the channel. So he was generous enough to take time out of his busy schedule to reach out and kind of get the words for the mantra specifically for this show. So we play it during the show, at the intro. It is, yeah.
And it is not subliminal messaging to get things out of anybody. Promise.
It isn't. At least I don't think so.
We may not know. We've been playing this whole time.
Right, exactly.
I have been checking his videos out a lot more often, though. Maybe there is something to that.
Oh, dude, I love watching Behemoth stuff. Like, I mean, I would love nothing more than to have
when I'm doing other things.
Yeah, same here. Like, I would love nothing more than that, than to have a temple like he does. But I don't think that I would do it justice having a temple like that.
Like, there's no way.
Yeah, just the way that I do ritual work now, like I don't think that. I think my building a temple like that would be just a disrespect to having a temple like that.
Yeah, mine would be really witchy and like the Cheeto dust meme. Everybody out here making everything perfect. I'm here wiping the Cheeto dust on my pants while I'm calling out to whoever I'm working with at the time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Behemoth-X is a wonderful person. I have tried many times of inviting him onto the show. After like this 5th or 6th time that I asked him, he gave me a very lengthy explanation of why he doesn't do interviews. And he's like, "I love you, brother, but no, I don't do interviews." So, essentially. So yeah.
Divination Witch, I don't mind answering that. I have, not currently. Working through some new changes and processes in how I do things. So those a lot of that stuff has closed off for me, as I kind of revamp my thought process related to how to engage with those types of energies. Most specifically, looking at like kind of really working hard into the Temple of Set. So I kind of pause all my stuff while I do things like that because I don't know how it's going to affect what's going to change. Dust sometimes. Yeah, I do. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 altars in our house. A main central altar, and then we have one for each direction, and then we have an all ancestors altar. That one is a mess. It's got pictures and dust and candle wax and spilled salt dishes, all kinds of shit all over it, and leftover dust from incense. And then we have one like multicultural one, which was where we put kind of things that trinkets that we like from other uh, deities and belief systems that we don't necessarily believe in. Like, uh, um, what is the one that Brad likes? I forget. Rook. Shoot, the elephant. Oh my God,
The elephant?
Ganesha. Ganesha. So, God, I can't believe I forgot that. We have a 100 and all jade Ganesha that's about that tall. It's really cute.
This dude was... Don, thank you very much for the $5. Greatly appreciate it.
That is awesome.
Greatly appreciate it. I'm glad that your mojo's working there, brother. I'm happy for you. I'm happy for you. As far as what Sad World asked,
Sad World, yeah.
What I think is, so this is something that I've pondered for a very long time, right? So going back to kind of the conversation we had when Dyro was on here, we were talking about kind of like, you know, Hollywood style, you know, witchcraft, fireballs flying out of your hand and shit like that. I believe that though magic will never truly leave this world, magic will always be something that we'll be able to tap into. I believe one of the reasons why our collective ability is so limited when performing magic is because of simply the amount of people that don't believe in magic outwardly. Like, you know, they
kind
think
of
it's
magic that we believe in anyway.
Exactly.
Or I should say I.
You know,
Not
no, it would be.
everybody.
I think it's weird. I think it's a community thing, man.
Yeah, I just mean like not everybody in the chat may.
Right. And so I believe that because of the limited amount of people that, you know, believe in the actual power and ability of what magic can do, like energy work and things like that, it has limited, you know, the access that we have to it. I think back, if we go back to the 16th and 15th and 14th centuries, when belief in magic and things like that were significantly more rampant and people were truly afraid of it, or, you know, just believed in it on that level, there was more access to more of it, right? That could potentially, you know, reach or talk to a point of what we might be seeing in, you know, Hollywood films and things like that. We were a long way off of ever having access to that amount of magic again.
Agree.
But do I believe that other beings in the universe believe in a form of witchcraft? I would definitely have to say yes. Though it may not be called witchcraft. It may be something completely different to them. But to us, when we look at it, it would seem like witchcraft. Much like the Christians and their Sunday Mass. They take a biscuit and a glass of wine and they turn it into the blood and body of Christ. And that is, for all intents and purposes, my friends, that is a magical ritual. But when you don't call something and you don't see something as what it truly is, you deny its true power. And that is exactly what the Catholics and the Christians have been doing for centuries, is denying magic's true power, its true ability inside of the universe. So, you know, we just need to kind of keep the belief alive, because all of us began believing in what we believe in because we required the freedom that organized religions didn't provide. And then from that, we've continued to believe the things that we believe because we have received results, something that praying at your bedside hasn't done. We've received the results that we've been so denied through years of trying to beg a Christian God to pay attention to us. Life is magic, conscious reality. Live by will. It is everywhere.
Yeah, exactly. 100% agree.
Yep. I've been reading a really neat book. I think I've been talking about it a while. I've watched a lot of her videos, but they do get a little dry. Grandma in the armchair, talking about aliens and the universe, but it's The Custodians by Dolores Cannon. And it's basically using hypnosis and regression, a specific type to have people talk about experiences with aliens and abductions and stuff. And it is very neat. It feels weird at first to read it, but the more and more I read just what she has and what people experience, uh, the answer to both questions, from my opinion, for Sad World is absolutely yes, there are other beings. Um, I don't know if they're related to us, though, or they are somewhere related to us, potentially, but not always. And there is absolutely a type of magic and spirituality with them because um, even if it's completely different than what we look at, just from the understanding or the need to realize, what humans are doing, the contact, the connection. And I think it's interesting because people a lot of times think that once the more and more and more educated you become and the more scientific you become, the less spiritual you become. And that's just not the case.
Yeah, I disagree
It
with that
does
completely.
happen. But yeah, and me too. And I have all of the convoluted universes. I have not read them yet, but I'm excited to read them. I have them all stacked up over here in the corner. But
In Sad World, to answer your other question there, is it so you believe that magic, in our sense of the word, only exists on Earth? Yes and no. I believe that, so magic is a universal energy. It is another word for the energy that we use and we manipulate, we pull in and then bend to what we need it to be. That energy is universal. However, I do believe that though every being is connected to that energy, regardless of whatever planet they're on, there are different levels to it. And each thing is connected to it on a different level, which is why, for example, when you do a ritual or you do a spell, sometimes it requires one kind of stone or another kind of stone. When we talk crystals and stones will assist in the manipulation of a particular frequency of that energy, which is why you can't just use one universal stone to do everything. So I don't necessarily think that the sense of magic is just for Earth, but I do believe that anywhere else that it's used, it's going to appear or be treated slightly differently than it is on how we treat it.
so, in other words, magic is likely, and I agree with that. Magic is likely universal, but no, I don't think it's tied to Earth. But in this time and location, in the whatever we are, the universe, it is our experience with it that is different than maybe what another group's might be, or somebody somewhere else in the universe might be. Um, and that's really important piece to it, right? And to me, it's not just manipulating universal energy, it's everything. Even our mundane daily things can be looked at as a way of manipulating energy. You make decisions on where you go. Where does that decision come from? A lot of people may go back to it's just electrons firing in your head. There's little things that say, oh, something has to make that happen. Something has to work on where that process goes. And there's lots of different theories about how that is done. And they're all very interesting, and nobody's agreed on one yet of how we initiate thought. Decide to, hit the button to turn this on, or decide to go out and take a walk instead, or decide to eat a cinnamon bun, or decide to eat eggs and bacon for breakfast for this day. Um, that experience is ours, but it's universally opted, right? Anybody can choose to do that, but our experience with it individually is different.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of all of our other senses. Like to me, magic is part of our senses. We have
It is.
taste, we have smell, we have
Mm-hmm.
other things that we can sense, and magic is part of that. And I think
100%.
it's everywhere. I think there's going to be experiences we will learn once we get an opportunity to learn about other people, other beings, and other things. We'll experience it differently, but it's still all of the same thing, of the same place. I'm surrounded by chihuahuas. If anybody ever wonders why I keep looking down, I have two chihuahuas in my lap, one beside me and one on the floor. The other one doesn't love me, so she's not around. Chihuahuas everywhere. As within, so without. As above, so below. Everything is the same in nature, but differing in degree. So, yeah. When did we get on that topic?
I don't know, but I'm glad we did. I'm glad we did. It worked out well.
Oh, man. So, let's see. Yeah, Little Tree Sap, agree. Making contact with otherworldly spirits, realize how not alone we are. I do wish other people got to experience that. In Sad World, they're not really random thoughts. Don't you think it's your brain telling you, giving you a direction of what you need to learn and what to kind of get in with? Everything is random and not random at the same time, right? Chaos magic. Chaos theory, actually, not chaos magic.
Exactly.
Ephemeral, I have heard the term prima materia, but I do not remember where or what.
Yeah,
I know I can assume what prima materia is prime material.
Yeah, that's what it seems like to me. That's what would be my breakdown of that, right?
That is not a phrase I've heard, or actually I feel like I've read it somewhere, maybe in one of the Temple of Set books, possibly.
Definitely. All right, everybody. Well, we banged out an hour and 20 minutes. We went over our hour, but it was a good conversation. I could definitely keep going. But
maybe we're a little late, so that worked out.
Yeah, we were also a little late starting it. But it also looks like Mystic is about to heal over.
Yeah. I'm trying to fake it, but I am not feeling well today, which is happening so often I hate to admit it. But
so gotta let little boy take a rest.
I need to sleep, yeah.
Gotta take him out behind the shed.
That's not very nice.
I'm just kidding.
Yeah, and divination, which is like, it's 2:30 in the morning. What the hell are these people doing? Although in hindsight, I do think I just figured out what's wrong with and causing me to have night sweats.
Divination, oh God. I knew some people were gonna get that. I don't know if everybody understands what that means.
It's okay. Jesus.
I knew Mystic would. I knew that. So.
Well, we don't do anything in public.
He's like behind the shed, dude.
That's just right in front of the shed. Why not?
Right.
I was gonna say we don't have a shed, but we actually do now. So.
There you go. There you go.
Although it does face directly into the back window of our neighbor.
I guess so. I mean, he's still gonna have an audience.
Jesus.
You guys got me snorting. Holy shit. I don't usually laugh that hard. Against Sad World, poor old Yeller.
I cry.
All right, guys. Thank you so much for being here, Divination Witch. So happy to see you be a part of the community. You are so welcome here. Everyone else, Tree Sap, Aaron, Sad World, Dragon Dancer, like I said. Okay, yes, PM, exactly. PM me about the herbalism classes. You guys are fucking amazing. There will be the Sunday Black Mass on the channel. So yeah, so that came in like a, wow, God the Son, Jesus Christ saves. Wow. See, these are the Christians that we don't want in here.
They like the dog. I'm fine with that. That's a good start.
Yeah.
I hope that means sweetie, not sweaty.
Right. Right.
But yes, we love the dogs. Good.
You're just here for the dog? Okay, cool. All right, enjoy the dog. Good. And as always, everyone. All right. Actually, Mystic, you're also doing your Sunday service this week. Right?
We are supposed to, and we're planning on it, but it all depends on how I feel when I get up Sunday morning, because
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So
So
planning on it.
potentially you'll have Mystic Show on Mystic's channel, which is Two Pondering Pagans. So be there. It starts. What time does it start again?
10:45 with video live at 11, and we end with tarot.
Okay. So there you go, and that's Eastern Standard Time.
EST. Oh yeah, are we daylight savings? I think we're daylight savings. I can't remember.
Yeah. So.
But yes, Eastern.
Yeah, it's Eastern Time, and the Satan and Coffee Black Mass Sunday starts right after he finishes. At about 10, 11 o'clock my time. And yeah, so guys, that is going to be it. And as always, hail thy fucking self, and we'll see you in the next one. Peace the fuck out.
Hail y'all back.